How's it going, guys? Today we're going to be starting in a part 3 of our series, and we are going to be working with string data and just talking about what we can do with them. So to start off, we have a string data that says the pandemic sucks, and we have the variable text that's assigned to this string data. This is separated by white spaces and followed by a period. So just like before, if we printed out text, we should get back what we assigned it to, right? We printed the variable text and we have the value, the pandemic sucks, period. If we wanted to know what kind of methods are available to us when we're trying to manipulate, let's say, the string or just anything that we can do with a string that's provided to us by Python, we can see the available here. If you don't know what a method is, just think that for a method, a string method, for example, is just a way that we can work with string. An integer method is a way we can work with integers. For strings, we can see that every method is separated by a comma in this case. So for text, we have, let's say, the method lstrip, we have the method isDigit. So they all do different things, and if we wanted to know what each of these, and we'll be using these methods later on, so you can have a better understanding. But if we wanted to see what each of these methods do, like a small description of it, well, we can write help instead of dir, and we can see that our just does this, our petition does this. So that's just a brief overview. Every time when you just trying to figure out what anything does in Python, you can just put in dir and help, and you put in the thing that you need help with, or in my case, it could be a string, it could be an integer. So the first thing we're going to be just talking about is the idea of, in a string, we could actually encase it in single quotes or in double quotes, and they're both strings. Now the difference does come in when let's say we are trying to add a single quote within the statement if it's already encased in single quotes. So if I try to do this, it would see that there's an error because it's already encased in single quote, and you can't have a single quote in here. And one way to fix this is to add an escape character in the quote. And in this case, if we wanted to make sure the single quote does work, and it's not a single quote where we're using it to encase the entire string, then we just add it in front, and this will tell it, hey, we actually want a single quote, and it's not the single quote that's used to encase the string. So we can see that it works. Another way to do this is just to do double quotes, and in this case we can see that the single quote works. There is no error to be made, and vice versa. This is also true if we do this. Now for the escape characters, I'll leave this link below. You can use any of these. Say if I wanted to show a backspace, then I would do escape character, and then I'd do a B. So if I did this, you see that we have, well, this is a backspace, even though it might look a bit weird to you guys. So that's that. And then other things we can do, very common, and when we get into loops and stuff, it may be useful to just see how long the string is. And to see how long a string is, we just type in len, and we can see that this will type in 19, because every single space is considered to be 1, and then this is actually 19. if we wanted to figure out what is the fifth character in this string, then we would have a square bracket, and we type in the number that we want, -1, because the capital T here, the indexing starts at 0 and it ends off at 18. So if this is a length of 19, we would end for the index, we would, so for example, if it would end at 18, and this would give me back to period. If I started at 0, it would start at T. So if I wanted the fifth character, I actually want text square bracket 4. So this is called indexing. So here's a string, and I wanted to find a specific character. Now, what if we wanted a sequence of characters? What if I wanted from 4 to, let's just say I wanted the whole word pandemic, right? So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? What if I wanted the entire word pandemic from this whole string? Well, so then what this colon means is, what this means is that we're going to start at 4 and we're going to end at 12. But we're going to include 4 but not 12. This, we're basically trying to get a substring from this string. And we're going to start at 4. So this is start. This is just the syntax, right? Start and end, right? When you want a specific, sequence of letters in a specific string. In this case, we start at 4 and we end at 11 because it does not include 12. Whoops. Sorry about that. So yeah, so this is called slicing. And it's useful if you want to get one specific substring in a given string. Now you could also just do this. Now this means we're going to start in the beginning and we're going to end at 12, excluding 12, right? Remember, the start is inclusive and the end is exclusive, so it includes the starting index, which is 4, but it excludes the ending index, which is 12 right here. So we're going to exclude the white space here. So this is called slicing. Works the same way if I said I wanted to start at 2, but I leave nothing here. That means I'm going to start at H, inclusive at H, and we're going to go all the way till the end because I didn't ask it to stop. So you can see that that's exactly what it does. Another thing you can do with, forgot to mention this before, is triple quotes. This is still a string, but what it allows you to do is to, it allows you to add, sorry about that. Yeah, it allows you to skip lines in a text. So if I just did this, you can see that it will throw an error, right? But if I did triple quotes, I'm telling Python that, hey, I have a really long string, or I just maybe want to make it a little bit more tidy, so please let me skip lines, right? So that is also another way to define a string. Let's go back to our normal string. Finally, we're just going to be talking about some manipulations that we could be doing to strings. So these are called methods. One very common. So for all the methods that that you want to know about, I'll also leave this link below. So these are string methods, right? These are all ways that Python provides us to do something with a string. So for example, if we wanted to do, let's just do something simple. If we wanted to do upper, right? Converts a string into uppercase. So how we call a string, how we call a method is we put in the variable and we put a period, and then we say upper, right? Just dot upper. This is how you call a method on a string, right? This is how you call any method on some object, or some in this case a string. So you can see that it's yelling at us now, saying that the pandemic sucks, and it shouldn't be a surprise that there's also a lower function that says that this pandemic sucks. So what this does is just, it lets us manipulate strings, right? It's a string method. Like I said before, it's things that we can do with a string. Let's try another one. If we did, what can we do? So if we did, let's say, replace is also a common method that people use. So replace, it takes in the first, so these methods could also take in arguments. Let's just say I wanted to replace pandemic with burger. So we're gonna look for this string pandemic and we're gonna replace it with burger. This is what this method does. Instead of saying this pandemic sucks, it changes into this burger sucks. And then another thing we can do is a thing called concatenation. So let's just say we had this is text 1, this is text 2, and then we said, let's see, at least the vaccines are coming, right? Let's just say I wanted to combine these two strings. Well, there's a thing called concatenation, which basically if you add a plus sign between two strings, it will make a single string, right? So you can see that this is bad grammar, but you see that it becomes one string. Now remember, this actually doesn't have to be a variable, right? Text 1 and text 2 are variables, but you can also add in string literals. So if I did, let's say, please help, right? And I said that this is text 2, so this should say the pandemic sucks, comma, space, please help, comma, this is string literal, space, plus text 2. So you see that if I printed out long text, right? So that this is called concatenation, and you use a plus sign. Finally, we're just gonna be talking about placeholders and f strings. So placeholders are just ways that we can put something into a string without putting it into the string. So if I have text and then I said, if I wanted to say that, so the curly brackets is a placeholder, and let's just say instead of writing the word sucks, I write oops, sorry about that. I write it like this. So what this means is that this is going to be anything that I put in here, right? Format is a method, and it takes in the argument in which I want to put into this curly bracket. So if I had another curly bracket, then the format will need another string. So in this case, you see that sucks will put into the first one, hello will get put into the second one. So this is called placeholders. And why this is useful is because, well, we can just change this to anything we want, really, without changing the string itself, right? And we can even put in integers here, right? So that's why there's placeholders. And then finally, there is also a thing called f strings that came in a couple of years ago, which is very useful in my opinion. So it does exactly the same thing as format with these placeholders, but but it's much more convenient. So if I wanted to write the same thing, right, what I do is I write F, and we have a single quote or a double quote, and then we have our same square brackets, right? Let's just say a square bracket, hello, right? And then I have two placeholders here. I can actually write in variables names here. So say if I had burger, French fries, I can directly write the variable name in here, and Python will be able to understand instead of writing the dot, format, and then we have the comma and all that. So this is called an F string, and then we see that if we printed this out, right? Hello, burger, French fries, right? If I change these, we add an S, burgers, French fries, right? So this is just a different way of writing this, right? This is a placeholder. These are also placeholders, but this uses a method format, and we write in what we want these placeholders to be later on. In this case, we write directly in the variable name, like code, into the string. So these are new, and those are really I've just covered the most common ways that people manipulate strings. There are a lot more, right? There are a lot more string methods, a lot more ways to modify strings. And escape characters that I mentioned before. I'm gonna leave this in the description, and I'll see you in the next